What's up, everybody? Before we start, I just want to give a shout out to the Midnight Society. We surpassed 100 subscribers. Couldn't have done it without you. Appreciate the feedback, appreciate the support. Love you all. We're going to keep doing our thing. Let's get into it. Welcome back, Midnight Society. It's your boy, the Movie Nerd, and we're here with a review for Ad Astra. When I first saw the trailer, I didn't know if it was Ad Astra or Ad Astra. I guess I could have Googled it, but I didn't. But watching this movie, I actually saw that it's Ad Astra. They give you this in the movie within like the first 5 seconds. There's some script that briefly describes what's going on, and in it, it says, man traveled to the stars, or man searched to the stars, and then all the other words disappear except to the stars, and then bam, Ad Astra. And I put two and two together, and I was like, huh. That's pretty cool. The movie stars Brad Pitt, Tommy Lee Jones. It also has Donald Sutherland, Liv Tyler, Ruth Negga. I always feel weird saying her last name. Brief synopsis or a plot or the tagline that you want to call for a movie. Brad Pitt plays Tommy Lee Jones' son. They're both astronauts. Brad Pitt's following in his father's footsteps. Tommy Lee Jones and his crew go on a mission called the Lima Project that goes beyond Neptune, trying to find extraterrestrial life or life outside of Earth. They've been gone for about 19 years and assumed dead, and that's when SpaceCom brings Brad Pitt in, tell him that these electrical surges that are happening on Earth could be coming from the Lima Project, and his dad is possibly alive. And that's pretty much Ad Astra in a nutshell. Brad Pitt did well in this movie, as he always does, but I think he might have outshined himself in this movie. Give or take that in this role, he's supposed to play this astronaut that has a BPM or a heart rate that hasn't surpassed 80 beats per minute, so he plays this real stoic, blocked off character. Don't get me wrong, he plays it well, but there's times where it's like you didn't really have to do too much to do that role. But as the movie progresses, you start to see that wall starts to get teared down. And you start seeing layers of him start to be revealed. You see emotion, you see anger, you see sadness. Just to let it be known, the pacing of this movie is very slow. There's not a lot of dialogue going on all the time, and there's points where there's no dialogue for maybe like 5 to 10 minutes. If you don't like slow-paced movie, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, a lot of dialogue but still slow pace, then you probably don't really want to see this movie, but it's a good payoff in my opinion. But back to Brad Pitt. I expected to see him eating somewhere in this movie. I mean, he did eat, but it was like slurping on something like an astronaut would. But I expected him to have like a cheeseburger or french fries, cue Ocean 11. There was one scene where he's in a spacesuit in the beginning of the movie where it looks like he's chewing gum, but I was just figured maybe he's used to the chewing motion and it brings him comfort. The intro scene to this movie immediately pulls you in. I mean, the graphics and the visual in this movie are completely stunning, hands down. There is a scene with the girl from Orange is the New Black, Natasha Lyon. If you've been watching my reviews, you know I suck with these names. I can just Google them. Okay, I'm really not that bad with names though. But Natasha Lyon, her role is real small, but effective. And I thought it was funny because she was actually in Orange and I was like, ha, it's the girl from Orange is the New Black. And she's in Orange. And whatever, I thought it was pretty funny. Even though there's not a lot of dialogue in this movie, you get voiceover from Brad Pitt as him speaking his thoughts, and it made the movie more enjoyable. I think if you didn't have Brad Pitt doing his voiceover, it would have been a lot more dead time, and it would have been a lot more stoic and pretty much bland. And the voiceovers are effective because he pretty much plays this brick wall, so he's not really exuding any emotions, but then you hear his voiceovers and you're like, okay, so there is something under there. And eventually he breaks into those emotions, so the voiceovers aren't really needed anymore, but it does go out guiding it to that place, even though the voiceover is literally the last thing that happens in the movie is him thinking thoughts to himself. I'll speak on Liv Tyler real quick. She wasn't really in the movie as much. You see her in flashbacks, also memories, but you don't really see them interact that much. And I kept thinking, hey, there she goes, dating another guy from Ocean's 11. She was marrying Ben Affleck when he became an astronaut, but then he became an accountant, so now she's married to Brad Pitt. I wonder why she skipped George Clooney.
I freeze. I'm Batman's.
That's why. Speaking of George Clooney, Gravity and this movie have a lot in common, but then Interstellar and this movie have a lot in common as well. I guess all space movies have some form of being in common because they're space movies. This movie really resonated with being in space, alone, and even the end of this movie vibrated back to Gravity with being back on Earth is where I need to be. I thought space was my home, but my heart really is in Earth, which is all good. I just thought it was going to go into a different direction, but it went that way. But it didn't leave a bad taste in my mouth. There's not too much to say about this movie. I mean, I am a sci-fi fanboy. Every time I start a review, I say, it's your boy, the Movie Nerd. Come on. But past the fact of me being a nerd for sci-fi, this movie does real well. It gives you intrigue, suspense. There's even a few jump scares in there. The only thing that this movie could have done better was have a surprise cameo by Matt Damon. I still give Interstellar props for that. It wasn't leaked or anything. Surprised the hell out of me. I just thought about it. Another Ocean 11's guy, astronaut. Rest in peace, Bernie Mac. You would have been a great astronaut. But all in all, Ad Astra is a good movie, and I definitely rank it worthy of a double take. If you've seen it, let me know what you think. If you plan on going to see it, if you don't plan on going to see it, and as always, if you like what you see here, like, comment, and subscribe. And as you know, this is submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society.